Okay, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Brazil. We're live from the campus party in Sao Paulo 2013, and our last stop of the Intel Extreme Masters, the World Championship, is just around the corner. And for those asking me, oh, what World Championship? The 5th to 9th of March at CeBIT is where the World Championship will be held for the Intel Extreme Masters, the 7th season of such an event. And we already know 10 of the teams that have qualified from the 12 spots. 2 of those are already through here, which is Millenium and MYM. But Millenium 1-0 up, gentlemen, from the first map.
Yep.
Do we see it going any differently in map 2, regardless of what the picks and bans are?
Yeah, I think so. So, because when you look back at the very first match or the second match of Group B, Anexis looked very similar. They looked really, really bad. They got roughed up by LGIM. They had a really rough time of it, and the game looked, again, just similar. Then the rest of the games that came out from Anexis on that day were much, much stronger. Certainly, you could argue they played weaker competition, but they looked much, much more on form. They made a lot better decisions, and here I feel like they have the chance to sort of recover from that situation from that first game, not give those early advantages. As Rib mentioned, don't lose 3 turrets by 9 minutes. Get that ward coverage. Certainly, Millenium has quite a bag of tricks for them. You saw that great invades, great team comps,
Yep.
but I believe in Anexis. I think they can do it.
And Riv, Millenium, just as you were, I guess.
Don't fix it if it's not broken. Yeah. It's really up to Anexis here to bring out all the stops. They have to pull out whatever ace of spades they have. They can get in this game, and they do have what it takes. We've seen them play great during this weekend. So if they can't do it in the first and early minutes of the game, I think it's going to be even harder for them to try, because Millenium's on the roll.
Just before we get into the picks and bans for this map 2, just a reminder that straight after this semi-final, there'll be semi-final number 2 this afternoon, which will be LGIM, Incredible Miracle from Korea, who yesterday came unstuck against one of the Brazilian teams, Keed, who played fantastically well to come back into that. And I don't care what you say about, Incredible Miracle were a subpar team. I mean, whoever thinks they're a subpar team is out of their mind. Seriously, these guys yesterday said that was an amazing comeback. Full stop. Wouldn't have mattered what team they were playing. It was an amazing comeback. Let's just enjoy it for what it was. It was an amazing moment, fantastic. And if you haven't already seen it, pop back on the VODs. You can see that as well and enjoy once more. It was a fantastic game. LGIM, they're in the second semi-final. They go head-to-head with MYM, who actually have had a very good season in Intel Extreme Masters. They've gone through all of the different qualifiers. In fact, they have a weird record here.
Yes.
They've had a first, a third and fourth, a fifth, sixth, and a seventh, eighth. So they only need a second, and they've got the full complement.
We'll see if they can do it, though. They've got really tough competition, though, in LGIM.
Yeah.
So good luck to them in the second semifinal. I like seeing poetic things like that, but the way the Koreans looked yesterday, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We are ready for picks and bans, so let's take you through. And that bans have begun. Wukong is already banned out, so we will have that for you in a moment.
Yeah, Olaf is going to be going out too, that 100% pick ban. We'll have to see what they can do with this. They've already taken out the top laner, the mid laner. We'll have to see. AD has been very heavy, the AD champions, I should say, this tournament.
This is interesting as well, because basically the repeated Olaf ban here basically tells me that they're looking to first pick for tabs more than first pick for Anguish. Because Olaf has been so popular, you kind of expect that champion to come through as first pick, like him or Kha'Zix or one of those big high impact guys. Mumu as well, and of course that one being banned out. I actually like this ban phase from Anexis a lot more, though. They've banned out the 2 initiators that Millenium plays. I'm curious to see what they run here, because they've got to pick out something very new.
Same 3 bans from Millenium.
Kha'Zix being open, I really think that's the likely pickup here, because I think that's the only super hotly contested champion still available in this pool.
But that is an exact replica of map 1 as far as the bans are concerned for Millenium.
Yes.
Millenium feels comfortable in their lanes with those bans being out. They think they can handle whatever else is in an Anexis champion pool with those.
And that's fine. I mean, like, a lot of these picks and bans really reflect on what they want for the player. So once again, I think they want a first pick for tabs, give him one of his most comfortable champions, and steal away something important. I'm surprised by the Xin Zhao grab, because I expect Kha'Zix just to be pretty much an insta-lock here for Millenium. But meanwhile, with like the Nunu and Misfortune bans, they're obviously not worried about Urgot, even though they know Arco is probably going to go for it. And it's kind of telling me that they don't really want to run those champions on Creatin and Fat Mama. But I do like the adaptive bans here from Anexis. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Millenium to navigate picks and bans here.
Hovering on the Kale, Anguish and I'm So Fresh to take up these choices for their team. Like we said, a lot of the area effect composition taken out, that Nunu and the Mumu as well. And the 2 long-range ultimates for Misfortune and Ezreal are going to be out of these fight AoE comps. I'm so fresh. There's the Kha'Zix lock-in. He called Freak. And Angus just waiting now. He has his Jax, his Katarina as well.
So,
a few more.
Guys, just explain why Anexis wouldn't have taken Kha'Zix rather than just, and they would have, presumably, they would know that
this could
would
be
take
a
that.
strat where they want them to have Kha'Zix.
Okay.
Well, also Xin Zhao is one of the other, I'm trying to just like rack my brain for initiators that they play, and Xin Zhao I believe is something that I'm So Fresh or Angus would play as well. Now the problem is they could run, I mean I guess really with Elise here I expect Elise to be top, but like Jax Lulu can be an initiation combo in a pinch. If you go way back in the day, you can do things like Shyvana Orianna, which I haven't seen these guys ever play. So there are other initiator sort of champions available in the pool, but not maybe in what's comfortable for these guys. And the Lulu grab right there, again, they've removed one of the supports that helps other people initiate. And Anexis is removing the ability for Millenium to pick fights.
A lot of long-range initiation coming in here. The Urgot and the Varus being swapped on, and the Hover Over. We've seen both champions used in this tournament. The Tarek Urgot becoming a favorite among the esports and League of Legends scene after we saw Team Marn bringing that out.
This is going to be interesting because right now, this is Millenium kind of picking a lineup that has to force fights really, really hard. They've got to try really hard to force that battle, and they'll tend to overextend doing it. So, unlike a Xin Zhao who can dive in, maybe knock someone back into your team, is tanky when he does that, there's not an easy way to start a fight here. This is interesting, though. They're going Graves Tarek, which will let them survive Lulu Caitlyn really easily. And in fact, if they lane swap, they'll actually push just as well as Lulu Caitlyn would. So I'm intrigued to see what kind of, if a 1v2 comes out, what the 1v2 champions are. But you're still in a situation where Millenium are not going to pick fights easily. If they want to win this in the mid game, they've got to win lanes and just be more powerful and just do these dragon baits, baron baits. After the 3 outer turrets, if they start winning early game, after the 3 outer turrets, I don't know where Millenium's going to go.
Well, it's up to Fat Mama to round out these picks with his team. I like what Anexis has in mind. Kha'Zix is obviously going to go for a lot of resets. It's going to be Angus jumping in on Elise as well from Repel, so you have 2 people in your face immediately. Lux is perfect for stopping that disengage, the equalizer as well. But once it gets into the fight, it could be difficult for them. The Lulu is going to help that Xin on the jump in, or whoever decides to jump in. But that single target focus is going to be huge, and we may see our first Mel fight.
All right, that was the kind of the champion left there. I didn't know if Angus or I'm So Fresh really. The thing is, actually, Malphite can play AP mid as well. Malphite can go in all of these lanes, basically. But that was the one champion I was wondering if they knew how to play. Because that's, when you try to deny initiators and you leave Malphite open, that opens you into a world of very interesting situations. I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out, though. I think Malphite is the right pick here. They need Malphite or something similar in their lineup. I just don't know how well it's going to do for them.
Well, Light Binding only grabs 2. That could be a combination of Kha'Zix, Elise, or Malphite if it is chosen. So it's a really good way to get around that disengage that they have put on Anexis right now.
And what I also actually like about Malphite...
Cool.
Yeah, so that is Malphite. Now the funny thing is, he's up against Rumble, which is a better matchup for Rumble here.
Right.
Rumble's a good lane against Malphite. I would almost then expect Malphite to go in the jungle here. Just because he's going to have a safer time of it. He doesn't need to get farmed, he just needs to land his ultimate. The crowd control doesn't increase when you level it up, so as soon as he's level 16, he's kind of just is Malphite by that point. So I would kind of expect that a little bit more, but I guess we'll see.
Yep, and then looking very comfortable. A few jokes being shared before the start of this game, and at the end of the picks and bans, they may have found something funny and amusing that we didn't see, but nevertheless, we do see Malphite for the first time. It's going to be interesting to see how this one matches up. So here we go then. For map number 2 of the semi-final, it is Millenium versus Anexis. It's game on.
Thanks a lot, guys. And Jason, we're ready to kick off the second game. We've got... you saw me just putting my headset on there. I forgot that I had the badge around my neck. Paul, call me out this time because I got him last time. I think that was the point of that one. 1-1 now, he says. So, Jason, we've got the 2 lineups in here. We saw Millenium having what I would say was an easy game in game number 1.
They had some fun.
How's it going to come over in game number 2?
I'm still not a fan of that Lux. I mean, you have an Elise who's going to build a tanky. You have Angus who's actually going Malphite top lane. We're going to see Kha'Zix in the jungle yet again. You have a Tarek, a Graves. I mean, who are you going to burst down in that team? Absolutely no one. And that's the downside to having a Lux. That's also the upside. If you do have a squishy team, you can do that. And then you have Caitlyn Lulu, which is kind of nice for that pushing. Lulu with the Glitter Lance, follow up the Piltover Peacemaker. You can get that lane shoved really hard. But against a Graves who can shove it right back at you, it's going to be really tough for them to do that.
So
Who do I have
didn't
to
actually
win?
answer my question in the end.
I'm trying to step around it. I'm going to give it to Millenium, though. It's just the Lux. I'm not a fan of it.
I think that winning game number 1 as well will have built their confidence up so much. I mean, it was almost too easy for them. Like, they just went about those outer turrets all down, I think, before 10 minutes
It's
even
like they
hit.
had a playbook, and they were just like, all right, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this.
Step 3,
question mark. Step 4, profit.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually have to just pretty much agree with what you said there. And they also have Armor of the 5th Age Tariq, which
That's
is
true. I mean,
also a bonus.
And you also let through Kha'Zix, and you let through Elise. You can't let through those really strong champions right now. It's basically where the meta's going. Ban out the really overpowered champions. Forget about what they play, unless it's, Tabs. Obviously, you kind of maybe want to ban out the Fizz, but you can't afford to let these champions get through because they're just going to demolish you. We saw Tabs on it last game on Kha'Zix. Just completely destroy the enemy team.
So here we go then, game number 2 of our first semi-final here at the Intel Extreme Masters Brazil. It's Millenium taking on Anexis with Millenium 1-0 in the lead. Jason, can we expect any level 1 action?
Not out of Anexis, out of Millenium. As you see, well, it's easy for me to say as I see him crossing the river right now, but they have a really good team forward. We're going to see Overpower make it caught right here, and he does in fact.
Wow, the stun actually went down, but he'd already flashed away. Cocoon will land onto Overpower, but they're too close to the turret there for anything to really happen. And we can see Millenium have said, well, we forced them away. That means we've got full control of their jungle now. They've put that pink ward down over by the blue bush, and it looks like they will actually head away from it.
Yeah, the major downside right now is Millenium actually came out behind, and actually I'll let you go ahead and take this over.
Wow, Angus getting binded up there. Are they going to be able to follow in for any more damage? Lulu, actually, I'm so fresh is going to jump in there. That could end up costing him. He has to flash away after being ignited. Fat Mama going to have to do the same. Zazas actually jumps in there. First blood, Caitlyn.
Makes it second.
Got caught. Second kill. It's a double kill for Caitlyn, and that couldn't have gone any better for Anexis.
That was such a misplay by Millenium. I mean, they went in, and they actually committed themselves to pick up. We saw Elise pick up Cocoon. We saw Kha'Zix actually pick up Leap, which is not what you want to take when you're jungling. And from that, they started to run away because they had, more of a comp based around catching someone and blowing them up. But they couldn't win in a straight-on 5v5 team fight, so they ended up losing 2 members, giving Caitlyn a double kill, and that's so deadly because now she's coming back to lane with a longsword and a Dorn's blade.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of pain here, and we can see the lane switches come around now. Obviously, Creaton and Fat Mama didn't want to go up against that 2-0 Caitlyn, but the problem is, how does it go on the other side then? I mean, that's a Malphite that's got to now deal with it in a 1v2 lane.
I'm sure Angus just like, thanks guys, thanks for giving it 2 kills, have to lane against her. Yeah, cheers. But I mean, it's gonna be tough for him. At least he has that shield to regenerate to, keep taking a little bit of harass, maybe get a little bit of farm here and there. He does have the ability to farm with a little bit of range with Seismic Shard if he wants to level it up first, but with that ground slam, it will late game as long as he makes it there, completely shut down that Caitlyn.
Yeah, but how much damage is it actually going to stop out of a Caitlyn that's already got that longsword and the Doran's blade?
But later on, the ground slam, the tax reduction is just so devastating. It's ridiculous.
If he can get anywhere near him.
I hope he could with his ultimate. I hope.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I suppose you're right with that one. But anyway, the starts that we're seeing here, I'm so fresh going for that. Blue buff already got his red buff done. Overpow also got his red buff already, and he's headed over to blue.
One thing I love seeing right now in the top lane out of Zaz is you see a pink ward in the top side of the bush, or top side of the river, then you see another ward towards the middle. And because of that, he can see any sort of 3-man gate coming into that top lane, which is what you expect out of a 2v1 lane like this. So playing it very smart right now. We do see Tariq actually warding, won't be able to spot that with the pink ward, but still knows it will be there. And just overall, Nexus looking like a completely different team this game.
Well, the start certainly helped them out, that's for sure. Well, we've seen it. We've seen these kind of games being turned around before, not just once or twice. That can definitely happen, as we are seeing now Overpower coming up towards this top lane. Will he be able to get in there? With that stun of Tariq, you'd imagine that they should be fairly safe from that one. If Overpower does decide to make his move, doesn't have flash available to get right over the top of that wall, but he is going to come in there, and they've spotted him. And he will surely back away, or did they spot him? Certainly now they've spotted him, as he is going to go in towards Creaton. Where's the stun out of Fat Mama? May even just save it right now because he knows that there's no immediate danger.
Oh, I'm so fresh coming in.
It's a bait, yeah. I'm so fresh is coming in from the side. There is Overpower getting exhausted. They've got the slow. The stun comes in. I'm so fresh will bring it back 2-1. Great gang.
great game, but unfortunate that I'm so fresh. His red buff ticked and got that final blow on Overpower. They could have got that double buff over to Cretan, which would have given him insane amount of lane dominance. That turret definitely would have died. There's absolutely no farm that Zazu could get from it, but such a great bait. I mean, I was watching, I was like, hey, you were mentioned it. Didn't they see him? I mean, we saw him go in as they go for a dive on the turret.
Here we go, Fat Mama gets the heal off right at the last second. They're going to dive in. Cretan tanking up the turret. One more hit will save him. The barrier was down. And Millenium bringing it back straight away to 2-2. And again, I'm not 100% sure why he stuck around there. Because 3 of them, they've got the stuns, they've got the slows. Dangerous stuff.
He almost did pick up a double kill, though, if you look at it. Cretan and Fat Mama very low on life. It would have been a great play if he actually, kind of made that happen. But still, his turret now very low. He actually died. He only has 6 CS compared to that counterpart in the top lane with 22. Rumble's going to be very far behind. He's not one of those champions that need a lot of farm, as we saw last game with English. But still, you need some sort of farm. You need some sort of beginning to get yourself going.
Well, there's the first turret of the game coming down for Anexis. That Caitlyn, who got the first blood and resulted in a double kill there, really having the power, and has picked up now that Vamp Scepter plus the Berserker Greaves right off the very get-go. And those assists as well, which you didn't really mention. 2 assists across the board from the start is a real vital thing as well.
Yeah, I really have to agree with that. Just the amount of gold it gives you. I mean, Freak talks about it. Actually, pretty much most casts is that getting those assists in completely gives you an advantage in a 1v1 kind of fight. But one thing I'm kind of been looking at, Joe, while you've been talking, is that this mid lane's been very kind of passive so far. And I'm kind of surprised at that. I mean, we do have a Chalice done on Lux. We do have great range harass out of Tabs. He only has a Crystalline Flask, but still, he easily can get on top of Lux and easily do a lot of damage to her. We do have Iceverse trying to visit this top lane yet again. And it would be actually a very smart play to shut down Arcwell as much as possible, but he is spotted by a ward and a trap. Grom's going to face check it.
Yeah, Grom actually going in there. I'm so fresh. Can they get in? Not quite. But still, nice little bit of play coming out of I'm so fresh. That ward from Grom, though, will keep them safe for a good while. So AD carry support in this top lane. And yeah, we are seeing Xin Zhao coming in. Will they have the damage? There is the ignite down on towards Angush. Overpower going to come in. He gets exhausted. And the flash away from Angush will keep him safe.
So close on his part. He wasn't even level 6. He wasn't even close to it. And he was overextended that far. Had to commit that flash to get away. And that's going to put him a little bit farther behind. Rumble going to be able to catch up now in terms of CS because they did have that lane switch since they took that bomb turret first. But now you're going to have Caitlyn and Lulu against this Graves Taric in the top lane. And it just comes down to if Fat Mama can land a nice stun onto either one of them, Cretan easily has that damage to just blow them up.
So where's the next action going to come in? It's 9.3 thousand to 8.6 thousand gold. That first turret, of course, already taken down by Anexis in the bottom lane. Although this top lane turret is low for Anexis, but the fact is it's 2v2 up there and they should be fairly safe with that one for now.
Well, yeah, for now, definitely. But we do have Fresh. Looks like he wants to head over towards that top side. He's about halfway to level 6. And once he gets that, he's going to be able to get these ganks up very easily once he gets that Evolve Void Spike. But top lane actually without Cretan very low.
Wow, he's ignited up there. Actually has to flash away. And he will just about survive that one. But there was a stun coming down onto Arcwell, who just turned around and said, well, you know what? I've got the damage on you. I've got those Berserker Greaves, the Doran's Blade. I've got the Vamp Scepter in there as well. I've got a lot of damage to throw your way.
Yeah, and with those flashes, both of them being down for the AD carries. You do see Umsurge coming in. There's a complete time for him to do that. They do get the stun onto Caitlyn.
Yeah, Caitlyn could be in trouble. Nice Splinter Lance coming down onto I'm So Fresh. And with that, they decide, okay, we can't really do anything, but they're going to try and turn it around here. I'm So Fresh already losing a decent amount of health, but he will jump away to safety.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he wasn't level 6, wasn't able to get that range slow that would open up that gank completely. Though, kind of surprised, Overpower hasn't visited this top side just yet, because Cretan, I mean, we just saw it there with that trade. We saw Caitlyn get stunned, and yet she turned it around, did great damage to the enemy's team right there. And I'm surprised he hasn't visited the top at all, actually. Well, I mean, he was there for the beginning when they got baited in, but that's it. But they do have an invade going on this blue buff, trying to keep it away from Tabs. They do get that over to Lux, so Tab's going to have a little bit of a tougher time. Doesn't have a chalice to keep up with Lux's regen.
I still think this top lane could be the explosive one.
I agree.
Yeah, with the slow and that polymorph coming out, we see there Cretan having to quick draw his way back towards that turret, but Anexis just pure bully in this top lane at the moment.
That's what you kind of expect out of a Lulu Caitlyn. I mean, you have that insane slow coming out of Lulu. You have the pushing power of that kind of composition. One thing you really have to worry about is that stun, but with that double kill we saw go onto Arcwell, he's, you know, with the Berserker Boots, like you're saying, he has attack speed to pretty much outdo Graves. He's tanky enough with the Doran's Blade and the Vamp Scepter for that regen that he can't really, or he doesn't have to really be afraid of that combo. We do have Cretan though, he is level 6. He does have the potential to burst her down, but we do have barrier on our quill, and it's just going to come down to if he can hit that barrier quick enough to stop any potential bursting to happen. Burstability, Joe, I'm going to bring that word back.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that when he's full HP, and obviously he's got plenty of regen to come in there as well, that even if you get the stun onto him and unload the buckshot, he's just got a 90 caliber net away, pretty much, without losing more than half HP, I should imagine.
And they can heal it up.
Yeah, now we're seeing Overpower actually coming in here. Are they going to try and bait this one out? Ultimate comes down from Grom. Here comes Overpower into the fight. Cretan going very, very low. He gets finished off. Fat Mama just about walking away. Well, there's the ace in the hole, and now Answer Fresh trying to escape. They're going to dive this one, and that will be a double kill for Overpower. Great play out of Anexis.
Very great play. Very great play. Then they knew the Answer Fresh was coming in. We do have Tabs though coming in from the Tri-Bush. I don't really think he can do anything about this. He needs to be very careful because he could easily be poked down trying to... Wow, actually doing great damage over Dark Quill.
Yeah, good damage, but at the end of the day, they've lost 3 men there. Tabs is going to get himself some farm in this top lane. Let's have a look at the big picture. 5-2 in kills, 1-0 still in turrets, 14,500 gold to 12.3 thousand gold. After 10.5 minutes, it's certainly looking like a different game to the last one we saw.
And the thing is, Zazas in the bot lane, he's actually been bowling around Anguish. I mean, he was behind 30 CS, actually about 20 CS, comes back in the game, keeps him pushed up against his own turret, and he's not getting punished at all by it. Answer Fresh hasn't really visited this lane to shut him down. We do have a little bit of a roaming Fat Mama now, but it just seems a little bit too late. I mean, Anguish doesn't have any damage to go for a kill on someone else. He actually gets caught himself.
Yeah, Fat Mama going to get the stun down here on towards Zazas, who directly backs off there. Kha'Zix and Graves, who was spotted here by this ward, so Zazas knowing that he couldn't go any more offensive than that. But you mentioned the whole passiveness of that middle lane, and the thing is, 2 assists with that Lux enabled her to get that Chalice early on, and in the meantime has just been farming. That Athene's Unholy Grail is now finished as a result of that one, and Anguish has come back into this top lane where he may just face a few problems. Zazas here again going in towards Fat Mama. I'm So Fresh and Tabs did come down from that one, but they should be losing this top tower soon, and Anguish is going to have a few problems as he will use Unstoppable Force there to get in, but just doesn't do any damage.
I think that was used for like farming or something right there, because they didn't really accomplish too much. But at least for Millenium in their own favor, they have 4 members towards the bottom side of the map, so if they want to go for a dragon, they easily could get that done. They have Anguish to the top lane to stop them. Obviously can't stop them anymore with that ultimate to stop from backing, but they may potentially lose that turret. Anguish still trying to farm under turret, trying to keep it well, obviously the minions off the turret, just to really deny that pushing power that Nexus has. And if he can continue to do this, it's going to buy Graves and Tarek enough time to maybe shut down this Rumble a little bit more. We had Overpower though, going to get spotted in the spotted bush, going for the engage.
He's going to go in there, actually get stunned. Rumble ultimate does come down at full range, and we're going to see the flash from Overpower getting in there. Is exhausted, does get the knock off onto Cretan. Rumble's in there as well. Overpower now on a killing spree. Great players. I'm So Fresh has to come around finally to cover this top lane.
And as we saw in game 1, Millenium outplaying completely Anexis. It seems to be the complete opposite right now. I'm supposed to get very low. He might get ulted here and actually die. And he doesn't.
No, but I think probably could have had him there, to be honest. But, ifs and buts. Let's just say that. Meanwhile, Dragon being done here by Anexis. After they got control of this bottom side of the map, they will be taking this one without any replies whatsoever coming out by Millenium. Top turret has now gone down as well, and as I said, totally different game from Anexis in this second matchup.
It's like the same game, but the teams are switched this time because we have 2 turrets now down at the 13-minute mark. It wasn't obviously as
Fat Mama
getting caught
dead
again.
Mama.
I mean, we saw him yesterday on his Zarya. Even Red Eye pointed out multiple times that he got caught, over and over and over, and it kept costing his team a couple of kills. Obviously, here it's going to cost them a lot more since they are really far behind. But still, with those 2 outer turrets down, they can easily 5-man push this middle turret, get that one down, and then pretty much just create opportunities in the enemy's jungle.
Yep. I'm wondering how good Anexis are going to be at closing the game out compared to what we saw from Millenium in that last game, though.
Anguish has ulti.
Yeah, Anguish does have that ultimate. Rumble's only at half HP. Elisa's coming in here as well. Cocoon will miss. There is Unstoppable Force used onto Celeber. Zazas going low. Zazas will die. Here comes the laser. It's a kill on towards Kha'Zix, but Graves joined in. That's a 2v1. That's the kind of thing that you can't afford to let happen when you're in the lead.
Yeah, very true. You kind of just got Graves completely back into the game. He got a Achilles free bonus off of Overpower and Tabs.
Wow.
I'm so impressed because he's not building that traditional Warmog build. He's actually going damage, and because of that, he really, really hurts. I just saw when he was going head-to-head against Romba right there, Zaz just had to run for his life, and even then, he got bursted down extremely quickly. I'm really loving that build. That's the way I love to play Elise. Obviously, I'm not the best player in the world, but you just see how much damage it really can do with the percent plus the extra percent you get off of AP.
Yeah. Really dangerous time still, in my opinion, from Anexis. I mean, Millenium, we said it before, that they're definitely confident as these builds do go along. Anexis need to make sure that they push their advantage here. If they don't make that advantage account, Millenium are certainly a team capable of turning it right around.
That's the thing with Caitlyn, though. I mean, she has that lull in the mid game, and when Riv and I were casting yesterday, I kept saying that there's this window. There's this time where she's really weak, and there's this point where she hits critical mass. Actually, we do have Grom getting engaged upon Tabs. Tabs gonna have to back up. Oh, no, he doesn't have to.
Oh, Grom going very, very low. Elise dives in there, gets the kill. Tabs now going low as well. Laser comes in, and well, he's used the repel, gets back into the fight. Tabs is still alive. They've turned it around. Here comes Graves, and Tabs, he just about dies there. Right at the end of things. Overpower going to be stunned up. Have they got the damage to finish off? He's going to try and get away. Angush is very low. Overpower's going to chase him down. Gets that kill. Are they going to get in onto Graves? He flashes away. Zazas now onto IsoFresh and Fat Mama. Both of them right underneath the turret. Zazas being stunned up there, and Graves will get the kill. And that will be a 3-2. Actually, yeah, it's not over yet. Overpower coming in there. The ultimate comes out of Caitlyn. He's stunned underneath the turret. Double kill for Graves. Wow. Wow, amazing play out of Millenium.
Very amazing play. 3 for 3 in the end of that. Just wow. I can't even analyze that because it was just so well played. We had Creed was able to kite enough. He flashed out of range of Arquel's ultimate to not get killed by it. Just amazing. That just shows the skill level that these teams are playing at. And I was mentioning Caitlyn before we got into that fight, is that there's that lull in the mid game, and there's a certain point where she completely takes off and does pretty much the most damage in the game besides a Vayne or a Kog'Maw. And the more kills she gets, the closer to that window she hits. But the thing is, what you were mentioning, our Anexis hasn't really made a push right now. They haven't pushed their advantage, and that's kind of the reason. They don't really have the ability to do that, especially when against a hard engage that you see at a Malphite.
Now we see Pink Wards helping clear out the vision on this bottom side with Dragon not too far away by now. And that will be a big win for Millenium if they can pick up this next Dragon. I mean, they're 3 kills behind. Yes, there's still 3 turrets behind, and that's the big thing now for Millenium, that their gold lead, their gold deficit is really about those turrets at this point.
Yeah, there is a deficit, definitely, but the thing is, the teams are still very evenly matched in team fights, just because of just the early game power out of Millenium. And if they pick up a couple of turrets, they're going to keep taking that advantage, keep snowballing. Anger's getting very low on the top side, though, being forced to back away as the rest of the team is coming up from the bottom side of the river, but still you see Zaz is playing very smart, heading back towards his turret a little bit.
Yeah, that was like a totally obvious move from Zazas' side. I think that he saw that Anguish came back at him even though he's got half HP. Yeah, that probably indicates that someone is coming somewhere to try and shut him down. Either way, as I said, Dragon will be up fairly shortly.
Loving the build that Tabs actually went with the Liandry's Torment to really counter the health stacking. We talked about champions like Vayne, Kog'Maw are the real hard counter to that. The more healthy build, they're just like, hey, you're giving me more damage, why not? Kind of thing. And the same works with Elise and stacking that Liandry's Torment on top of that, with the harass that she can do with her Q, with her W. It's going to set up a lot of really easy team fights.
And we see laser used by Misfortune by Lux. That'd be incredible. And now a 3-man push in this middle lane from Millenium. They do have Arquel. Celever just a little bit further back from that. He's actually recalling right now as they jump in on towards Lulu. Can Grom escape this one? Is he going to have to use his ultimate? The repel comes in. Will use the ultimate. Will that keep him alive? Tabs has taken a lot of damage. And that's one major thing taken out of any team fighting capability there. From the wild growth from Grom is a massive factor when it comes to the next fight.
And the funny thing was, it wasn't even the Lulu ultimate that saved him right there. It was the Caitlyn trap that locked down Tabs and prevented him from getting out of Spider Form to cocoon him and locking down Versus team to pick up the kill. So overall, great placement out of Arquel with those traps. But still, like you're saying, with that ultimate down, Malphite gets a really easy engage upon a Nexus, and it's really up to Overpower to kind of not disengage, but to pretty much confuse Millenium by separating their team with his ulti.
Now we have Dragon up and available. And Nexus pulling it out already. Xazas is coming in to join. Overpower is there as well. 5-man Dragon currently for Anexis, and I don't think Millennium are going to get anywhere near this one. No, they're not. Dragon is taken, and Millennium don't have a single chance of that one. But here we go. Angus actually coming in here. Are they going to go for the engage? Where's the unstoppable force? There's the light binding. The laser comes out. And that is real bad news for Millennium. They don't have that unstoppable force. 2 kills already coming down. Fat Mama is very, very low. Can they finish him off? Rumble will get the finisher there. And Overpower's flashed over the wall. Tabs and Creatine headed north to try and escape this one. But Overpower is going to be able to cut them off. Will he be able to delay enough for the rest of his team to come down? Ace in the hole. Barriered away there by Creatine. Overpower is still somehow alive in this one. He will finally go down. But that is an ace for Anexis.
And Joe, that is what we were talking about with Lux. Either she's really good or really bad. She bursted down the tank of Millennium, and you can't be in that position to let that happen. English didn't even get his ultimate off to set up the entire fight, and if they can't make him survive, if he can't get that initiate, there's no way they're going to win these fights. But now we're going to have that top tower go down, and Anexis still barreling down on the second top tower, and they, almost in the light binding.
Wow, the ultimate actually hit him there from Lux. And to be honest, Anexis didn't really lose too much health in that last fight either. But that's another great capitalization on that last fight, taking down the inner turret. Baron obviously not been taken, been up for 5.5 minutes by now. But Anexis, you know, they have enough of a lead where they can use Baron as bait right now. I still don't think that they're safe in team fights unless that Malphite. I mean, we saw there without the Malphite, it's just a no-go for Millennium.
Yeah, it's up to English to really set up these fights. It's like we saw on day 1 with Pain versus Nex. If a Mumu played by Pain could land that ultimate onto 3 or 4 members of the enemy team, they would win the fights. If he can't do the same here, there's no way they're going to be able to win this. You know, we do have tanky members with Rumble. We do have Xin Zhao, and they're beefy enough, and they have enough damage behind them to really be a threat to everyone on the other team. It's just really up to English to land that entire ulti, and it's just the way he's playing right now, it's not going to happen.
Let's have a look at the items now, because we have had a bit of time since we talked about that before. Double Warmogs already in place for Anexis. 1 on Rumble, 1 on Xin Zhao. We've got Infinity Edge plus a Zeal on Caitlyn with that Vamp Scepter. Celiva got the Athene's Unholy Grail in there, got the Needlessly Large Rod plus that Chain Vest moving up towards Zonya's Hourglass Light. This is a lot of damage already coming out of Anexis, a lot of tankiness, and now they're on towards Tab. Ultimate from Rumble wasn't very good, but to be honest, Overpower is still really, really healthy as the flash comes out. Tabs will manage to pick up Xazas, but can he escape Xin Zhao? No, he can't. A 1-for-1 in the bottom.
And Joe, what the items we're seeing right now in Overpower, he has that Sunfire Cape as well as the Warmogs, and that, he's so dead.
Yeah, Creatine here being bursted down. Oh, what a block from I'm So Fresh. Nice block, and that's just about all that they've got to save him. But now Fat Mama may be the one that dies, gets slowed, and then will be finished off by Grom, who's now 2-1-10.
Not a bad score for support, but we do have Overpower. Actually, he's going in on English.
Yeah, Angus is not safe by any means. A light binding lands again, and that is just 1 by 1 going down.
That's the story of Lux. When it works, it really works. It's the same thing as a Twist of Fate. I was trying to say though, with Overpower, with that Sunfire Cape, that ability to get really quick health and armor shuts down an AD carry completely. Especially when you have I'm So Fresh as an AD champion with Kha'Zix, there's really nothing they can do to him besides having at least shut him down. But with all that health, there's not really much she can do even with percent damage. So overall, that's why you keep seeing Zins over and over and over. We're seeing Millenium trying to come in for a steal potentially right here, but Baron go down very fast.
I don't think they're going to be in time for this one.
Oh,
no, there we go. Picked up the light binding lands onto I'm So Fresh. Look how low he's gone just from that combo there of Lux. And Anexis pick up another big objective, and that gives them that 10,000 gold lead. And Millennium still haven't had a single turret.
And, well, yeah, very true. And the way the game is right now, this is a situation we're in. We have Anexis, they're very strong. We have Lux with 3 kills, able to pretty much one-shot I'm So Fresh. Probably could if she got the auto attacks off. She can do the same thing to Creatine and Fat Mama. We need to see Millennium build tanky. The problem is, if they keep building tanky, they're going to be lacking on the damage they need to kill anyone on Anexis, so they have to stall the game out long enough to be able to accomplish both of those feats. And that's not really easy to do. They don't have a composition to do that in their base as well. So just overall, Millennium going to have a tough time to drag the game out long enough to really counter how much burst Anexis has.
How do they come back though? I mean,
they have to get they need the tankiness, and they have to be able to hold their turrets long enough, at least their inhibitor turrets, to keep Anexis from getting one of those down. Because once that is down, it creates an opportunity for Anexis to go for split pushing. It creates opportunities for them to just bait in Barons. And if they do get that tankiness and then they follow up with damage right after that, which they're going to have to, then they can start winning these fights. Even with Angish's ultimate right now, they're not going to create any opportunities to kill anyone. I'm pretty sure Celavar, with his flash up, which has been up for quite a while, he's not going to put himself in a position to get bursted down by Cretan, by Tabs, and by I'm So Fresh.
Well, currently Anexis by far the stronger looking team in this one, which much needed after game number 1, where they pretty much got rolled over without even saying anything about it.
They're like, oh wait, oh, game's over.
Yeah, they rolled over and had their bellies tickled. That's a demon saying that I stole right there.
Never heard him say that.
Maybe I just made it up, but it's a good saying nonetheless.
It is.
Because
like
that's exactly what happened to Anexis. So they've obviously had a good chat about this in the kind of half time, or third time, I suppose we could maybe call it, if Anexis push this one through to the victory. In terms of the items, again, AD carries, Caitlyn now, Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Graves, Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer. This inner turret is going to be gone. Nothing that Millenium can do to hold that one. They don't want to fight right now.
And there's nothing they can do to really hold this turret. Zeus Anexis is trying to engage here, and they're not even afraid to tank under the turret, because Overpow just took damage from the enemy team, took a couple of turret hits, and his health still basically full.
Yeah, well, look what he's got. He's
3
got,
giant belt
oh,
items.
they're going to go in here. Overpower going to be tanking this one up. Rumble actually is going to drop his ulti down. Angush did use Unstoppable Force, but that was maybe only delaying the inevitable here. Look at Overpower. He's been fighting 4 men, and he's not even dead yet. He's still got around about 1/5 of his health remaining. Zazasir does get stunned up. Tab's going to be chasing him down. Well, Arkwelt comes in to save the day, and they take that next, the inhibitor turret down.
The problem with Millenium having is right now, you saw that last fight, which I hope they do at the analysis desk, is that you had Anguish engage, but he had no one to dive with him. He had no one to help him follow up with his ultimate. He hit a couple of members, but without any damage behind him, he just fell over and died. We saw the rest of the members of Millenium sit back to protect Graves, and they couldn't even do that. So that is just pretty much where it stands in these fights. And it's kind of a misplay on team composition, but still not exactly that. It's just a misplay on the entire game when they're just so far behind. Kha'Zix isn't able to dive in the backside, Elise isn't able to, and Graves and Tarek are just so squishy that they have to run away from Overpower, especially when not having that last Whisper.
Well, that's the thing. Overpower was fighting against 4 of them. Angush goes in and, well...
He fought against 4, and he died. Overpower didn't.
Yeah, because he's got Warmogs. He's got Sunfire Cape. He's got a 3rd Giant's Belt in there. I mean, even Rumble, Warmogs, 2nd Giant's Belt in there as well. Let's see what they go back with and pick up. They've got plenty of cash to be doing so. There's a 2nd Ninsu Large Rod picked up by Lux. There's a blasting one coming out for Rumble. So ended up to that Rylai's. And also Overpower's got his chance to head off back home and spend another bunch of gold.
Oh, we might see first turret of the game, though, going over to Millenium here.
Or maybe not, as Lux clears it out completely. And Spider not going to be doing enough damage there. And again, Anexis managing to hold out. Here comes Overpower right into the middle of them. Anguish will use Unstoppable Force to actually get away from that one. Double flash in middle. Nice cocoon onto Celiva. But Overpower is still charging forward. Not going to be able to catch them, as I'm So Fresh has managed to split off this top turret. That will be turret number 2 of the game. But Anexis is still firmly in the lead on this one.
And seeing Anguish, use that ult defensively just kind of tells him, oh, he's not even afraid of that turret. He's not afraid of anything.
Why would he be?
There's a Lux shield on top of that. Wow.
Yeah.
That just shows how one-sided this game is.
He's tanked like 7, 8, maybe even more hits from that, and not really worried him too much. I mean, how much health? He still has 2,200 health pretty much there remaining. And here we go then. Laser coming over. Fat Mama going very, very low. Not quite the damage to finish off, but sending that Taric away. There's no Unstoppable Force. Having that stun not in the fight as well is going to be a big thing, as I'm So Fresh is forced to leap away from the fight.
And yeah, and that's still being very hesitant to engage here. They knew Taric was back. They knew they had a 5v4. They knew Anguish's ultimate wasn't up, just like you said, and yet they still didn't want to commit to it.
Well, better playing safe and end up being sorry by the end.
Yeah, and Baron's coming up soon, so there's no point, losing 4 or 5 members and then to potentially lose that Baron and get Millenium back in the game.
Well, next wave of minions going to be cleared out quickly by Millenium. Those light bindings just been thrown over and over and over again by Celiva. And they're still waiting, they're still pushing this bottom lane. And that's the whole fact again, that these super minions, you have to deal with them at some point. Graves is not there, so if they were to fight right now, Graves would be very late into the fight, if they're at all, by the time they'd gone down. And now Anexis start to push through. Here we go. Overpower focusing first of all in towards I'm So Fresh. The light banding will land. There's the Rumble ultimate as well. Have they done enough damage to get themselves this inhibitor turret? Tab's also going to be hit. There is a laser coming across. Unstoppable Force comes into the back, but Anguish is dead. Overpower will split the team off. Overpower still somehow alive from that one with barely no HP. Fat Mama very low. Graves has already gone down, and that will be 3 kills coming out. I don't know how Overpower actually survived there in the end, but we can see Anexis going for the Nexus turrets.
I'm going to leave some silence there for that one, Joe.
Huh?
Anexis going for the Nexus turret.
Wasn't even a joke. But either way, Rumble's going to go down here. And Lulu as well. Tab's still chasing. Brilliant light binding from Sullivan. Will stop that, but for how long? I'm So Fresh has jumped in there. Where's the Void Spike? There it is, but, well, you saw how much damage it did. And almost dead. If not, definitely. Oh, he flashes away. Wow, what a flash from I'm So Fresh. He was dead if that had not worked out for him, but brilliant play from him again. And Millenium holding on.
Yeah, holding on.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Baron is back up again. We do have Superman still in their base. We have a Riley's Crystal Scepter now done from Rumble. We have the Shirelia's Revelry. Wow, English is hard. Done for Lulu now, and then a Banshee's Veil done for Caitlyn. So that Malphite ultimate isn't going to mean Jack squad against him because he can obviously just use that. If anything, he still has it up for the ground slam. So just Millennium not looking very strong. They need to go for pretty much a desperation Baron, which we saw Nexus do in game number 1, and hopefully pick it up. But I don't really think they have the ability to do that. The inhibitor's coming up, so at least they have their own favor. They keep that way pushed out. They can contest Baron a little bit, but still contesting. It won't really be contesting if they get engaged upon.
Now we see Randuin's Omen finished by Xin Zhao. Finally went home to spend the plethora of cash that he had with him.
Nice word. I liked it. Actually, no, you can't. That's used incorrectly. Yes. English class taught me something.
American class, you mean, Jason? Not English.
Anyway,
so Banshee's Veil being picked up as well by Caitlyn, and that can actually be really important in this setup as well. Block a lot of stuff that they can throw down. The question now is, are Millennium going to be baited in? They've not seen that one ward in the bush, which the pink ward actually would have had vision of. And the Nexus going to keep moving through.
They don't have an Oracle, which is kind of confusing when they want to kind of bait in Baron right now, as you see him staying on top of a ward. The thing is, Millennium's not really going to engage upon him. There's no point. There's not going to win these fights. So now they should be able to have this free Baron. We see, at least currently, at the blue buff, going to be backing into base. Has home guard boots, but won't be back in time. And that Baron is dropping very quickly.
Yeah, Baron's going to be taken, and you see Millennium saying, well, they're doing Baron. Let's take turret number 3 of the game. But just doesn't quite weigh up. Doesn't quite weigh up in the grand scheme of things. 53.4 to 42.9, over a 10,000 gold lead, double the kills, over double the turrets as well. 32 minutes into this game, and Nexus, it's a case of closing out for them now.
And the thing is, Joe, look at English. Look at items he has. For 39 minutes, or 32 minutes, I'm sorry, all he has is a Locket, Ninja Tabbies, and a Negatron. And he was a solo laner. That's the thing. If he was a jungler, he'd be like, oh, that's okay. But he's a solo laner. He needs to be that tank. Well, pretty much needs to be that unstoppable force for his team. But he just isn't. He's 0-6-2 right now. We have I'm So Fresh's Kha'Zix. Didn't build tanky at all. We have Elise, who has just a Riley's Crystal Scepter to be beefy. And then you have Tarek, who had to build a Shirley's Reverie, the Ruby Sightstone, and the Ruby Crystal on top of that, just kind of get some sort of health for his team. But you're going to see him drop here very quickly.
Oh, Fat Mama already taking a lot of damage. The Cocoon not quite landing in there. And Tabs, yes, he's got decent damage here, but how long is he going to be able to survive once they actually turn around and focus onto him? I'm So Fresh is far from being tanky at this point as well. And there is that inhibitor dropped again. And surely they're going to push this bottom lane out. Yeah, we can see Overpower's going to the top. Other 4 members heading bottom, and they're just going to push these both these lanes out.
I don't know if I like that. They're losing a really strong member of their whole team fight synergy. That ability to just run into the enemy team with Overpower and tank up every hit of damage creates just the opportunity for versus team to burst down anyone they want to. And I don't know, without a teleport, I'm not really I don't really agree with that split.
Well, we'll see. We've seen stranger things than 4 on 5 won at this kind of advantage.
Or actually, good thing is he's coming back. Guess he's just pushing that lane up, so it wasn't pushing up against him.
Here we go then. Brazilian guys in front of us laughing a little bit weird there. I thought there was a small dog invading the casting area.
I didn't know that was a laugh.
That was a laugh. Either way, Anexis now. Focus, Joe, focus. Anexis going to be 5 men again to push this bottom lane out, and Millenium know that they can just hope to push them back. There's not really much that they can do to contend with that one. There goes the laser across. Angus already down to half HP from that. And look at the speed of the cooldown there for Celeber. If you look at the icon on the left, it's just ridiculous how fast that comes down.
Pretty sure it's like one of his just regular ability cooldowns. It's at, what, 24 seconds right now? It's obviously going to be up by the time next mini wave gets there.
Sure, but the point is the amount of damage it's doing on such a small cooldown at this stage is just like, you can't compete with that.
And that's the thing, Lux shouldn't be able to get to that point if you play it correctly. We do have Arcali's Vegetabil was popped, but overpowered, taking the turret, and we'll get that one. So now, I mean, Millenium has to back off. They have to let that inhibitor fall, but with 2 inhibitors down, without being able to push out the waves, with 2 waves of Super Minions coming at them, they're not going to be able to win this game.
There we see, inhibitor number 2 gone. Top is the only lane with an inhibitor left. And Anexis just going to do what you'd expect them to do. Head towards that top lane, clear it out, push it through, and then they can focus on the Nexus.
And English picking up a second Negatron's Cloak now. Sitting on 141 magic resist, but in the end, I think it's going to be too much as if the game doesn't last on any longer, picking up a Void Staff's going to completely mitigate that. But Anexis just sieging away overpower going in.
And so Fresh there taking a good chunk of damage. Angus getting close here. Is he going to initiate? Nope. Backs away. Here we go. Overpower dives in once again. Creatine taking a lot of damage. Rumble ultimate comes down. Creatine is out of the fight now. Grom went fairly low. There is the wild growth though, and this is bad times again. Angus gonna fall. That's a double kill for Rumble. Next focus is Tabs. And well, he's gonna repel, but Overpower's like, well, I'm just gonna chase you down in the end. There's the ace in the hole, and he is dead. And that is 3 kills. That means surely that they can't protect this last inhibitor. Are they even going to go for that one in Nexus? They've got minions streaming in all over the place. No, they're not. They're going to look to finish out this game. First Nexus turret dropping. Second one's going to go down here pretty quickly afterwards. I'm So Fresh actually will flash away. Wow, Arkwell's going for it here. He wants to get this kill. And he is going to get the kill there in the end. And there are the 2 Nexus turrets already gone. Fat Mama stood at the back of the Nexus itself. That is going to be game number 2 here, going over to a Nexus. We're tied up 1-1 in this semi-final.
Yeah, so well played by Nexus to just shrug off game number 1, where they got completely stopped to come into this game and pretty much do exactly what happened against them to Millenium. So overall, I mean, we were both pretty much had our money in the basket of Millenium, and yet they got shut down that game. And we really do have to say that's all because of Lux getting so fed so early on, because of the double kill we saw early on with Caitlyn, and with Malphite just getting completely shut down.
And I wonder now how this is going to affect Millenium as a whole. I mean, Anexis, they've shown that they can bounce back from that one. Millenium, can they do the same? I'm not so sure. I mean, we've seen that they are a very emotional team. I mean, they've replaced their support player coming in here because there were these kind of blame factors in the team when they were losing games. So I'm very interested to see how Millenium come out in game number 3.
And the thing is, Millennium's already qualified for CBIT, and Anexis is fighting for that. If they win this next game, they will be in that tournament, and they'll be competing against the best teams in the world.
Well, we're going to throw it over to our experts. They're going to break down all the action from game number 2.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back to the experts desk here in Sao Paulo. It is very warm, of course, and things just got even hotter, guys, because that was one for the history books. We didn't think Anexis were going to come back like that, and for a while in that game, it almost looked like a mirror. They'd flipped around, and it seemed like blue team was somehow overpowered in some way.
You know, it's very hard for a team to come back without any momentum, especially after a game like that. Usually, you know, back in the CS days, the team would just be like, no, we're all leaving. Go to the next game. Let's forget about this. Let them clear out the rounds. But they didn't. They held out in that last game, and they kind of said, you know, what are they doing? What can we figure out? And they brought that to the table in this second.
Okay, and Freak, just looking back on the stats from the previous 2 games, it was 11-3 in kills, 5-0 in turrets after 17 minutes in game 1 to Millenium. Likewise, when we flip it round, it was 8-11 down Millenium and 3 turrets down. So it was almost mirror images, but 19 minutes was really where it pretty much kicked off.
Yeah, there was basically one really big team fight where...
Okay, let's show you that.
Yeah, we'll show you the replay here. There's a big team fight, and the one downside for Malphite, and actually I'll show you, is if you get rooted, you can't cast your ultimate or really any of his major abilities. And Millenium, well, they've got vision is the thing. So right here, Unstoppable Force should be starting the fight out. What happens instead is Anguish takes a light binding to the face. They're not ready to go in, and then from Fog of War, actually they have a ward, but Silver from across the wall either way, binds Anguish, and now he can't do anything, gets bursted out without getting his ultimate down. From here, the main initiator is gone. I'm So Fresh gets just crushed down. Fat Mama's got nowhere to run either. And it's pretty much cleanup crew here. They just are able to pick up every single fight. And look at that flash from Overpow. They know they're so far ahead at this point, and they can clean up the kills. But again, that fight all came off of basically Anguish not being able to initiate the fight, was unable to land any crowd control, had just a very unfortunate early game, not a lot of gold, not a lot of items. You can see down here, Kindle Gem, Cloth Armor, Rejuvenation Beads, like he has no way to tank out the damage output, and got bursted out before he got to cast anything.
Yeah, good stuff, Freak, taking us through that and dropping some knowledge bombs, which is what we like here. Tons of knowledge bombs. I think that's maybe what we'll have to call you from now on.
I decided I wanted to use Miles of Pain from now on.
Miles of Pain. I like that too.
Guys, just FYI, the new term is Miles of Pain. Doesn't even make sense. Doesn't matter. It's not even.
It.
Yeah.
Inches of Doom. So moving on to mine are terrible. His are good. Moving on to map number 3, which I almost find myself incredibly saying. It's like, wow, we didn't think we would be able to do this. Millenium have now lost their first map of the tournament, so that's a new thing. They've not experienced defeat yet so far. Anexis now have 1 foot in the grand final here,
yep.
But almost more importantly for them, they also have a foot closer to the World Championship as well. So this is going to be a huge map for either of these two teams.
I think Millenium got a little too confident from their first game, and Freak and I went back and forth the whole game. Watching Anguish felt very uncomfortable. That doesn't seem like one of his core champions. Malphite at, I think, 20-some minutes in the game, 23 minutes in the game, Fat Mama had more gold than he did in that top lane.
Yeah, which was insane. And there was a period in that same sort of area, sort of between 19 and 25, where they were getting isolated, and they were literally just picking off one by one by one. Fat Mama got caught out yet again, I have to say. Then Anguish got caught out singing, and then another player got caught out. And it was 3 in a row. They just picked them up 3 easy kills, and it never really got back on board for Millenium after that. It's almost like I thought maybe we'd see the surrender coming out, because there didn't seem to be anything they could do to get them back into the game.
No, there were 2 reasons for that, really. One is of course, Lux. You got long-range initiation. You can kind of just throw out skill shots. If you hit confirm, you go in, you pick up a kill pretty easily. And as long as you're sort of in the driver's seat, Lux can just generate kills out of nowhere. The other was that Millenium looked so different from game 1. In the first game, we saw by the 9-minute mark, they went as a group of 5 bottom lane, mid lane, top lane, and picked up 3 turret kills. And that was really vital for them. They played as a group. They weren't able to be picked off. And they, again, fought against Lux in that game. And as a group of 5, systematically took over the map. Here, Millenium, it felt like communication broke down. You heard in the post-game, Joe and Jason saying that they're an emotional team. They sometimes break down in communication. And that's what it felt like. It felt like Millenium went to solo queue mode. Everyone went to their lanes and let themselves get caught over and over again. Where Anexis with the team saying, we're going to group up and make moves.
Okay. 59%, 41% was the betting on Gosu in favour of Millenium before this started. I think all 3 of us were pretty much in agreement. We thought Millenium were going to go through. Has anything changed that you've seen, either of you?
I think Anexis, and this is a big part of being a team, is that you can change things up mid-stride. And that is one of the biggest things. And Millenium couldn't do that. When they thought they had the upper hand, they got a little complacent, and Anexis had that power. So it's going to be on now Millenium, just flip side for them to show it in the 3rd game.
Okay, well, we're going to take a very quick break, but when we come back, you won't want to miss this. It is the 3rd and final deciding map in the first semi-final between Anexis and Millenium.